Let me in. Let me in. Let me introduce you to this Apokryphos. These syllables and phrases that may come across as a potent herb that may have you stuck on the third word if the hidden connotation is unheard. Words and phrases you won't be able to hear unless you're elevated like air and would have already been there. Because if you can understand me from this point of view, then you can see where you're coming from. And then these words will start to come out at you like surround sound and then some, and possibly leave you numb. If you lay paralyzed and downsized, then the rainbow shades of your imagination will be 30 shades of gray and cause complication. Go back and assess the situation and see where you missed the amalgamation. See where you missed the learning process to go from natural to supernaturalness. Let me walk you through this thought and pull you up in it and bring you to your realization for a minute. You got trained, you got learned, you obtained, you got burned. You didn't acquire enough skill to shake off the chill, so it compromised your will and left you stagnated and still. I know this may be confusing, but you were sent here under pretense and preconceived thinking. You're not sinking, you're floating, gravitating and elevating beyond acute shyness into social butterflyness. You got to see the flip side of a coin that rarely shows its other face. Your heartbeats may have been misplaced, but in return you got grace and a more elevated sanctuary of space. You got stung, you got burned, you got way over-rotated and your equilibrium was confiscated, but your worthy cause has been reinstated, and somebody who misunderstood is gonna hate it when you look back on them as outdated and less syncopated. So don't feel so jaded. Don't be so dramatic and full of someone else's static. Discretion is the better part of valor, and your subtle innuendo just goes to show that even though someone slowed your flow, you can toughen up though, and perhaps give it another go. Let these cuts and wounds trigger you to be something other than what you could have been. This time you're ready for me and you got the badges to prove what you've been in. I know you wanted everything with anyone who said they could give you anything at any time. But if they're not calling or coming around, would you let that situation change your background? They were never meant to be there for you, only meant to push you through. Now your balance is a little off center, and it changed the diameter of your perimeter. I know you feel a little abstract and not quite reconfigured. I know you feel like your everything slides down to something until it's nothing. Nada, as if someone stuck you with a stigmata. And get used to that stigmatism, because you'll never see the same through those two eyes, but you'll never need a disguise. I know you got your emotions tore out the frame, and that picture just don't hang the same. But I'm proud of you. I'd rather have somebody let another somebody show the ropes too. I'd rather have you in the black than in the green and not knowing a damn thing. I'd rather have you human than the same as all humankind. I'd rather have you having a liberated mind. And from that lesson alone, you should know by now that you cannot see what you cannot be. They cracked you open and took the seed out of your imagination, just when you were beginning to imagine what it would be like to be in love. That's because you challenged and inspired them to make sense of and rise above. If you need to be low, if you need to be high, if you need to rethink, if you need to cry, release that. And then, regain composure over your true self. You've been through the experience, and this is the outcome, the aftermath of what's left. This is the intensity you brought. You brought strange things, and stranger things have happened. Like us. What could we possibly come together and discuss? I don't know. How we've become more caring, honest, how we've changed because of our histories and technicalities and much more comfortable with our sexualities. I don't have a hang-up about my past or how it didn't last, so put yours behind you and look where you've been. You're not broken down. You've just been broken in, crushed into a fine wine that just gets better with time. And this time, even this time, you'll be okay, better than okay. Now you're forced to face yourself with the face to force anything you want this universe to bring. This balances you. Incredible, but true. You say it has to be one way or the other, but it has to be both ways or it doesn't exist. I needed you to lose that so you can find this. I needed you to compromise and sacrifice and rethink until you don't think twice. Who would I be if I keep letting them affect me? I wouldn't be that free. I could be that, but that ain't for me. Let me in. Let me in. Let me introduce you to this Apokryphos. These syllables and phrases that know no other way to get your attention except to take you to the next level of what I'm made of. Let me introduce you to my love. It's you. It always has been. This is the think tank you've been thinking in. You manifested me and created everything you wanted me to be. And maybe, one day, who knows, you can introduce me to some Apokryphos.